Since I neglected to mention it at the start of the video, because we're starting a brand new session, now heading up to our next Divine Beast, there are only 2 remaining. So I've added a new straw poll link to the video description that has only the 2 remaining Divine Beasts left, and you can decide which of those 2 we'll be going to next. The straw poll will be open for a week or 2. Get to voting. Now, back to your regularly scheduled Breath of the Wild. Perhaps I was a little bit too hard on Mipha at the end of the last video. I mean, I said she was defenseless, and the only side we really ever got to see of her was her interaction with Link, which was a very loving relationship, so we never truly got insight into how Mipha was as a warrior, and maybe it was wrong of me to just assume that she was not as fit for combat because she was so affectionate towards Link. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant, and welcome back to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Last time, we settled down Varuda, who is now sitting up on one of these cliffs somewhere, I suppose is obscured by the big spires of rock. Oh no, there it is. So we were able to regain control of Ruda, and this time, by a margin of 2 votes, we'll be heading up to Vah Rudania. And if the name didn't necessarily give it away, or the location for that matter, let me just make sure I'm going in the correct direction. I want to pick up the horse before we go. The direction that we're going, you can see very clearly off in the distance. If I can get out of the woods for more than half a second, we'll be heading up to Death Mountain. Surprise, surprise, the name of the volcano in a Zelda game is Death Mountain. I didn't think that that would be much of a spoiler, considering there are very few Zelda games in which the... Where did I leave you, Oreo? Oreo? Where are you, Oreo? Oreo? Here you are. How you doing, buddy? Hey, come back here. So we'll be heading up there. We clearly went up this way last time when there was no clear direction for us. And if I remember, we're going to want to follow some semblance of a path up there. Is there a path through here? I hope so. So Death Mountain is one of those places that I would always approach from a different side. Usually I would come up and around the northeast and enter the back way, or occasionally I'll come around like this, but I very rarely ever approach it from the direct south. So this will be a bit of an adventure for me, although hopefully not as exciting as the other... Well, I guess that... I don't mind excitement in terms of entertainment, I mean in terms of ease of access. Because there's one particular place I want to stop before we head up Death Mountain proper, and I believe this is the way to get there, although again I'm not certain of it because I've never actually gone this way. So again, there are tons of enemy camps all around. You can fight them if you want. I really don't care to. Yeah, there it is. You can see it off in the distance. The big horse head indicates that there's a stable over there. And although I don't know how far we're going to be able to get up a volcano with a horse, it's probably ideal for you to stop here at the foothill stable. I'm pulling back on the control stick, and Oreo just did not want to stop. How you doing, Cass? You don't say. Alright, this is the same song, so we're not going to listen to it again. The real reason I came up here is to speak to this girl.
Hi.
You got it. How else should I be dressed? Well, excuse me. Well, isn't that nice of you? Of course, there's always a catch, isn't there? Well, I suppose it's better than catching fire and dying that way, so let's just grab 3. So I never did mention how you make elixirs, and I think it's mentioned in some of the ingredients here. If you have non-food ingredients, like the bladed rhino beetle, you have to mix it with a part of a monster, and it will give you an elixir if you do so. So just as an example, let me see if there's anything in here I'd really care to make an elixir out of. I guess we will use the beetles. So you can use beetles, and we'll use some monster parts, so maybe some moblin fangs. And that'll give us an attack elixir. So there are a bunch of different recipes you can use for that. Do I want an iron sledgehammer? I think I'm good with the weapons I have. I guess we'll just head up the mountain now. I left the horse by the stable, I think. And normally this is the point when I would go talk to Beetle and get some arrows, but I think we have 90 arrows or something, so I'm not going to bother. That's a double axe. Do I want the double axe? I think I'll be okay without it. Oh, and there's a Goron, so I guess we're going the right direction. Now, there's only a certain distance we're allowed to take the horse up. Maybe with some finagling you can get it further than that. But I don't think I'm going to stress over whether or not we take Oreo into an active volcano. I'm actually not sure if the horse will also catch fire if you bring it that far. Hopefully not. I've never actually tried. The game seems to be a lot more generous towards the health of... Can I get you before you shoot me? That's great. Do I want to use the spear? I think I'll use the Guardian Sword again. Oh, you spawned too, that's right. Okay, I'll need you to get out of the way, please. Is it dead? Oh no, it ain't dead. Alright, now we'll go back to the spear. Okay, I think I'll need to shoot you one more time. You're not dead yet. Buddy, please. Die when I stab you. Oh, we got a giant ancient core off that thing too. Nice. Look at all those goodies. There's even one laying by Oreo. And I think the Dragon Bone Club... Yeah, that was another 45 club. And we also got to see Mipha's Grace in action. So the way it works is if you lose all of your hearts by pretty much any means, I think there are very, very few that it doesn't count towards. But if it's like an enemy attack or falling off a cliff or something, then that will automatically revive you with an additional 5 temporary hearts. The problem is it has a cooldown, and if I had the heads-up display enabled, you would see the cooldown on the left side of the screen. But because I don't, you can't actually see it. I wasn't sure if it would show up with the HUD off, but I suppose it doesn't. So trust me when I say there's like a 15 or 20 minute cooldown on Mipha's Grace. So you can't abuse it to never die. I think we're going... I don't know if this is the best place to take a horse. I don't know if you can even go up this way. Alright, Ori, I'm gonna leave you here. I'll probably call for you from a stable or something. You'll be okay. But yeah, you could probably tell we're getting close to the point where I believe we'll start to spontaneously combust. Now, this is also the point when any wooded or non-metallic weapons will also catch fire. So you can see all of our shields are metal, so it's not an issue, but if we use the Phrenic Bow, or if we use the Dragonbone Boko Clubs, or is it the Moblin Clubs, those would catch fire and they would start to burn away. Your clothes, however, it doesn't matter. You could be wearing a sheet of paper and it wouldn't catch fire. Your skin does catch fire, but not your clothing, nor your paraglider, which I'm thankful for. However, if we use the fireproof elixir, we'll gain 1 tick of fire resistance, which means that our skin will no longer catch fire. Which is good. I don't like spontaneously combusting. I'm trying to think, which way do we want to go from here? There's another spider over there. I don't want to fight the spider again. I mean, I could, but it's probably not worth it. I'm trying to think. I mean, again, you can go pretty much any way you want to here. As long as you can actually climb it. Meaning that as long as you have the stamina for it, you can climb any of these walls you want. That's the nice thing about Death Mountain. There are so many different ways you can go if you don't mind climbing there. I mean, of course there's a path that's not entirely walkable, but it's certainly easier than what we're doing now. You can take it if you want, or you can go up this way, or go up the other way. That's pretty much this game in a nutshell. And of course, each direction you go has its own goodies for you to find. Some being better than others, and... Did we wind up meeting the path that we were going to take anyway? I'm trying to gauge where I am right now. I think that's the Elden Tower. So I think that's the one for this region. I'll try to get through as much as I can of this place without looking at the map as a crutch. But I'm pretty sure we just took a bit of a shortcut. Also, there are those little... I forget what they're called, like magma pebbles. We saw the ice ones. I don't know if we ever saw the regular ones, actually. But the interesting thing about the fact that we need a fireproof elixir, when I first got up here, I had been exposed to both hot and cold climates. So there are things for heat resistance just as there are for cold resistance. And I figured if we were going up Death Mountain, then whatever the fire resistance thing is would just be like the heat resistance, or 2 levels of heat resistance, or 3 or something, because it's just temperature, right? But even if you get all the way close to the point where you would spontaneously combust, you don't need heat resistance at any point, because it all winds up... I forget which way to go from here. Because it's just fire resistance. You don't need heat resistance, because they count as 2 completely distinct elements. And I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I think the closest you can get to the volcano without actually being burned... Of course it's Death Mountain, this is gonna happen. Well, I guess we'll just hide under this arch here. This is a hot spring, by the way, so as you can imagine, it's going to slowly heal your hearts if you sit in it for long enough. And there was one of those in Hyrule Castle. I didn't point it out, but it did happen. Also, more Octoroks. I used the wrong button. What is it, the L button? I am definitely using the wrong button. It's been a couple of weeks since I played. So what's the button to throw? Is it R? It is R. So you can do that. That's a diamond! I didn't even know those things drop diamonds. Oh, maybe it was one of the ore deposits next to it, probably. Also, as you can guess by the fact that my arrows are catching fire, pretty much everything will catch fire. Also, I think that thing is a fire Lizalfos? Yep. So there's another thing. If you use the elemental arrows on an enemy that is the opposite element, really, guy? I'm trying to get a good picture and everything, and you're just flying up to me and setting me on fire. If you use a fire arrow on an ice enemy, or an ice arrow on a fire enemy, and the same will go for the elemental swords and weapons, then it'll just completely vaporize them. So it's a convenient way to get rid of an enemy very, very quickly if you need to. Am I going the correct direction? I think I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, this is going directly up to Death Mountain. We can't get there because there's this big bridge that's up. However, if we go over this way, there is a shrine over here. So not all is for naught. At least we have a shortcut to get back here when we need to. And if this is the one I think it is, it's not. Well, it's just as interesting, I suppose. So, there's not really much to this one. And we're done. There is an electrical circuit you have to power up at the top. And the jumping platform flings the rock into the air. So if you just hold the source of electricity onto the switch, then it'll power up the switch. I want to make a joke about how the Switch is the name of the console, but I'm playing this on Wii U, so it doesn't really work. I don't know if I could even fake it. I mean, with the HUD, you'd be able to tell. Yeah, but now that our elixir ran out, we're going to have to drink another one, so that we don't spontaneously combust. Now, fire takes away your health fairly quickly. I think it's like somewhere between like 1 or 2 hearts a second. And there are ways that you can combat it if you're careful enough. I mean, obviously you can tank the damage. There are some hot springs all around if you want to keep yourself wet, and then while you're wet you can't catch on fire, although that doesn't last too long. Can I read the sign? And then there's also the minecarts here too. This is where you would first encounter them. Theoretically. I'm just trying to think where the shrine is relative to my current location, because we are at Goron City. I actually saw it across the way from us. I just love how the volcano looks in this game. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in this game I really love the appearance of. Now, where is the clothing store? That is the question. Directly above it. That's the inn. That's the clothing store. I'm sure they'll have something that'll prevent us from catching on fire, but first I have stuff to sell you, guy. So let's see, we picked up the diamond, so we might as well sell that. See if there's anything else we want to sell. I mean, we can sell the ancient stuff if we're pressed for money. I don't think we need to. I mean, it obviously has its uses, but I'm probably not going to be showing them off. Let's see, the boots, the armor. I think the headgear is like 2,000. That's way too rich for my blood. Now, we're going to need 2 levels of heat resistance for the places that we're going. So I think I'll just equip both of those straight off. Yeah, might as well. And it kind of matches the headband, so it's not all bad. But now we won't need to be drinking the elixirs anymore. This is also the inn. Since we still have 2 temporary hearts, I don't know if I'm going to waste it. Let's talk to the elder. Usually the elder of every village has a pretty good idea of what's going on. I've noticed. Oh, so you sound like you haven't been around for 100 years. Maybe the Zors are the exception. That stinks. That doesn't sound good. I'm a traveler. You're not dead yet, but what's his name? Bluto? You're not dead yet, I'm not paying respects. Who's Yunobo? Sounds like you could use those painkillers sooner rather than later. Sorry about that, buddy. Anyway, as long as we're here, I think I'll just grab the shrine that's up there. And before I leave, it may also not be a bad idea to find the goddess statue so we can get our stamina extended again. Because why not? We have it. Also, as you can probably imagine, walking into lava is not the ideal thing to do, so I'll be avoiding it when possible. Although I think by physics it's programmed similarly to water. So swinging flames. Does that come down? I don't remember if it comes down. Do I have to actually shoot it? I guess so. I didn't remember that. I think I usually just shoot a fire arrow or something. Yeah, but this is what it intends you to do. Obviously, you can just stasis the switch and walk right through, and nobody would care. If I remember, stones... Yeah, this is a weapon I want, I think. I have 2 of these, though. The thing is, these catch fire. I guess I'll just drop whichever one... So, another thing I didn't mention is if you open up your inventory and you see a little sparkle every couple of seconds, that means that it's a pristine weapon and hasn't been used yet. It has full durability. So the one I have selected does not have full durability, which means we've used it before. I think this is the one that we used to carry the Ancient Flame up to the Hiteno Tech Lab. So even though this is 3 attack points less, it will not catch fire, and will probably be of more use to us where we're going. Okay, I should probably be a little more careful. I also need to put away the spear in order to be able to use the shield. So another thing I never mentioned is if you have a two-handed weapon, like a spear or an axe, because both of them require 2 hands to use, then you can't simultaneously hold your shield out. It's like the difference between, say, a normal sword in Ocarina of Time and the Goron sword. You have to actively put the weapon away in order to be able to pull out your shield. But with some weapons like broadswords, you can use both simultaneously. And I think with this one they want you to use magnesis to bring it to the brush there, so that all that catches fire. And the ball begins to roll down, but doesn't make it all the way down because there's a gate in the way. So in true Rube Goldberg fashion, you have to use a pinwheel in order to open the door, but I don't think this door stays open forever, for whatever reason. And in here is a small key. I don't know why they couldn't just construct this area for you to, you know, just get to the door or get to the end of the shrine after you complete whatever puzzle this is, and instead require you to just grab a key to walk up to it. If they felt that it was more important to just have keys in here in some capacity. Actually, why am I even bothering with this? I could just stasis the switch again. Or saying again as if I actually did it the first time. Yeah, I don't know why some of these shrines even require small keys in the first place, because they could have been easily rearranged so that you didn't need to grab a physical key to open a door. I don't know, maybe that's just me. So now that we have that shrine out of the way, I do want to see if I could find the goddess statue. Another thing I need to mention, I said you can't walk on lava. You can, like, very briefly walk on these, but you'll still catch fire even with 2 layers of fire protection like I have on now. So that's a thing. Where is the goddess statue again? I feel like I shouldn't be going through these areas and skipping everything. So I want to at least show where the goddess statues are, but I never remember where. You can also cook out here. Actually, funny thing you can do, and I guess I might as well show this off. If you leave an ingredient out here, because everything is on fire, it'll just bake on the floor. So you can do that with pretty much any food item over an open flame, but because everything in this area is on fire, pretty much everything is an open flame. Come on, goddess statue, don't let me down. I know you're here somewhere. Are you behind a building? I don't know why I think you're behind a building somewhere. Is it up there? Admittedly, Goron City is one of the few areas in the game that I'm really not all that familiar with. I don't spend too much time here. I don't think that's a Stone Smasher, that's a Cobble Crusher, so it's not as powerful, but it's effectively the same kind of weapon. Where is it? I guess it's not all that important. I would have preferred to find it. I think this is also the main entrance that you would come up if you followed the regular path up here. I'm determined to find that stupid statue. I know it's here somewhere. I probably walked right past it several times and just completely ignored it, like I always do. I also love how there are older and younger NPCs throughout all of these villages. Really adds to the diversity of the people. This is really going to bother me if I can't find this goddess statue. It will bother me to an unreasonable extent. Also, I'm not sure if, like, I've heard that the Goron City music here is also a remix from Ocarina of Time, but I just don't hear it. Maybe it is. There's the statue. It's hidden underneath there. Has a crown on it and everything. I walked right past it when I started looking for it. I mean, what more do you expect from me? Be honest. This is the high-quality video gameplay you come to this channel for. Right, so we're going north. They said abandoned North Mine. So I guess we're going the direction I'm looking. That way? That way. Can we even get out this way? I don't think you're intended to. You're certainly not intended to. That looks like a statue. Yeah, there are a decent number of walkable paths that you can follow along here. They have minecart tracks. And I like how completely unique all of the architecture around here is. I mean, you'd think naturally it would have to be, because everything is on fire. And also, if you leave, say, enemy remains out here, they will also catch on fire. So pretty much everything acts in a way that you would reasonably expect it to, based on the environment. And the same holds true for bomb arrows. So for instance, if you pull out a bomb arrow, take a guess what's going to happen. I'm not going to show you. Oh, I guess there was nothing there. We couldn't reach it? I thought we could reach it. Maybe I was mistaken. But since I don't have enough health left, I don't think I'm going to show off what would happen. You could probably guess what's going to happen. Also, I think this is the first area we've encountered that would require a second level of heat resistance. So since we have two pieces of armor that offer low protection, they stack together and allow us to withstand the heat here. It's been so long since I've gone through this place normally. I usually have a way that makes it a lot easier to get through, or I just jump from a very high altitude and fly over there. Oh, there was a thing there? Oh, that must have been the, that must have been a Lizalfos I killed. It's not too much stronger than our Soldier's Bow. Soldier's Bow is probably going to break soon, though. I heard a fire out. Yep, sure did. Alright, I'm not sure where they went. They're still there. You having fun up there? Maybe I'll leave them alone. I don't know. What's the ideal strategy here? Because again, anything from here would probably kill me. Oh yeah, you can also take out your bombs when you're in the air and it will just immediately drop below you. Useful in some cases, but not in all. Alright, buddy, I've had enough of you. Of course, the disadvantage to doing that is that whatever goodies they dropped... Oh, I was supposed to open this up too. I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever goodies they drop when you shoot them with the cannon, you're probably not going to be able to get to because they're going to burn up. Except the fire arrows. I mean, why would the fire arrows catch fire? They're fire arrows. Let's see, I think the cannon is up here. Can we get to this before they shoot me? Can they even shoot me from here? They're not going to know what hit. Oh, this is one of those in-between ones, isn't it? Well, I mean, the nice thing about this is it actually breaks open the skull. I love that touch. Bye-bye. Oh, it's further away than I thought it was. I thought I shot you. I guess not. You can see the fractured skull leaves behind the rubble and everything. There's a treasure chest in here too, if we're brave enough to get it with those two guys just kind of sitting there. And there's a whole enemy encampment up there, and of course that's made of metal instead of being made of wood like most of the other ones had been. Gee, I wonder what's in there. So I guess we might as well do whatever a good Samaritan would normally do. Fire a cannon at him. He doesn't look like he's phased. I think down there... So anywhere you see those red rocks, like the one at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right there, that'll open up a... not sure what to call it, like a jet stream or an air vent that will allow you to use your paraglider.
Oh man, oh man, oh man! What am I gonna do? Monsters! They're here! They found me! Help! Huh?
You're pretty big for a kid, but then again I suppose most Gorons are. Why are your hands bigger than your head? Why did I never notice that before? Look at the size of his hands! Do all Gorons have hands that big? Looking for Yunobo. You wouldn't happen to know where he is, would you, Yunobo?
Oh.
Yes, it does make sense. I agree with you. With a cannon.
Huh?
How else? No, I punched it. What is this, Resident Evil?
Huh.
Alright, see you later, Yunobo. Now, before we leave, a couple things. The first, there's a weapon in here. I think we've seen one like it already. It's a Cobble Crusher, Iron Sledgehammer. And a couple of treasure chests. I don't remember what's in these. That's useful. They sure are giving us a lot of ice arrows for a fire area. Very thankful for that. And one other thing, I believe is all the way down in there. I don't know if I necessarily need to do this, but I will do it. I think we can get there. You're supposed to follow... I say supposed to. You can follow the minecart track in there. You can take a minecart down here if you want, or you can just fly in. Nice and easy.